So you're struggling to work the television in a hotel room, or you open an unsolicited email on your laptop, and suddenly...
Sorry.
And suddenly you're confronted with some extraordinary images. Now, porn is now available everywhere at the click of a button, so it's no wonder 80% of 14 to 16-year-olds admit to having watched it online, and so has a third of the under 10s. Is porn bad for society? Johnny Ongley, you used to be... Morning. You used to be a teacher.
Yep.
Now you're a porn star?
I'm a porn performer. I'd never call myself a star, but yeah.
Right, okay. And Tilly, you've done porn in the past. You
Yeah.
occasionally do... You do the occasional, I believe, private party, but you don't...
Yeah.
You
I
don't.
did. I spent 2 years filming porn, yeah.
Yeah. Why is it beneficial? Why is it good for society?
Well, first of all, I mean, when we're talking about pornography, we're talking about a wide genre of things. Pornography refers to literature, refers to film, imagery. And sure, within pornography, just like if I was referring to music, there would be music that contains lyrics which incite violence, homophobia, racism, the derogatory against women, all those sorts of things. Pornography, yes, there will be porn that I might view, that you might view, other people might view, that think is going to have a negative effect on some viewers. However, there is a huge array of pornography. And I believe pornography can be beneficial in a number of ways. Well, first of all, and I'm going to talk from my personal experience here, as a young man who did delve into my father's secret stash porn cupboards, and porn does pleasure me. It arouses me.
And it taught you, did it teach you anything about intimacy, love, respect?
Pornography is not there
it didn't.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Pornography is not there to teach us about that. We experience...
You produce porn, just to tell
I do,
everyone.
yeah, and I also used to be a school teacher, funnily enough.
So that's your roots, really. It's a career path, career progression.
I want to be a school teacher.
But no, we go through our lives, and people around us, our peers, our values, things like that, and our experiences shape our views on love, on sex, all of those things. I don't believe pornography does that. I was as a young woman, I always liked pornography. I was always interested in it. The only negative...
Why? What was it about it?
Because I'm a very sexual person, and everyone is different, and there will be people in this audience, there will be people at home who are very similar to me in that way, and then there will be people who don't view sex in that way. To them it's something very different. But I grew up often feeling quite guilty that I wanted to watch certain things, because again, as a woman, you're sort of led to believe this isn't right, or this is something bad for women. It doesn't show them in a good light. But I enjoyed it. I got something out of it, and I didn't find it offensive. So I since then have become a porn director, a porn producer, and I've worked with a lot of women in the industry as well.
Are they empowered?
Yeah, you definitely are.
Were you empowered by doing this? Or were you...
Of course we are.
Because some people say this is a form of sexual slavery.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many misconceptions about people in this industry, that we are exploited, you know, that we're forced into this, that we've had some traumatic childhood or something terrible happen to us when we were children. And I can quite honestly say that my childhood was fabulous. You know, I grew up...
Idyllic.
Yeah, and my mother loved me. You know, I didn't have anything like traumatic happen to me. I done it because I wanted to be looked at. You know, why do women wear makeup? Do we do it for women, or do we do it so men will look at us?
And I would argue that in mainstream media, we see far more damaging images of women. If you now, there's such a wide...
Far more damaging images of women than appear in porn.
Yeah, definitely. Because if you now go to porn, there's such a wide array of things. You can have anything you want. If you want to watch, you know, a larger lady having sex, if you want, you want to watch an older lady having sex, you can watch this. These are not the stereotypes of you know, what appears to be beautiful as well. So surely, if we're now saying,
why should we be watching it?
Why should we be watching it?
You asked me
it's
earlier
entertainment.
about an educational value. I believe there is an educational value to pornography. I have to say, when I was at school, sex education for me was in science and being shown a drawn diagram of the genitals. Now, watching pornography, it was the first time I'd ever seen a vagina, to be honest with you. It taught me about different ways of pleasuring the opposite sex. And whether I believe it's important to know how to pleasure your partner, whether you're in a long-term relationship.
Catherine, but there are other people to talk on this. Sure. You would not be surprised that I tell you that. Catherine Harper, Scottish Women Against Pornography. Can we kind of know where you're coming from there? Do you believe it is, there's so many issues here, but do you believe it is in any sense, as Johnny argues, educational?
It is educational, he's right, like any other medium, the media, but what it's teaching is very, very negative and damaging, and that's the problem.
Why? Why do you think it's negative and damaging?
But if you look at me,
I'd like to hear an explanation of why.
Okay, Adam, you say it's objectifying women's bodies.
Hang on, but
Let me just finish.
we like to be objectified. That's why we
Catherine
want to
hasn't
be
finished her
hard.
point. We just picked up what you said, objectifying women's bodies,
Objectifying-
which I want to introduce into our debate. But please do finish your point.
Pornography is taking the place of good, healthy sex education for young people, particularly young men. What young men are learning in pornography about sex is about power and domination. It's not teaching about a healthy sexual lifestyle. We're talking about a massive multi-billion-dollar industry that is predicated on exploitation. It preys on the vulnerable and the weakest in society, and it is profit
have you
driven.
ever spent any time on a porn set?
Yeah,
Have you ever
exactly.
worked
I
with someone
suspect
like
not.
me who makes
I suspect not.
Even Zelda.
How do you think, Coley? How do you think, Coley?
I mean, a few years ago, I have very, I mean, for obvious reasons, I'm going to say I've never watched porn. But I had similar feelings as you about the objectification of women and about the denigration of women and subjugation of women. But when I delved a little further and spoke to people, practitioners, it actually seemed to be feminism in operation, because the stars of pornography are the women. The men, well, I was going to say the men can come and go, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
The women, it's all about the women. The men are secondary. There are more.
What about the impact on those who watch it
Well,
and what they think about women?
This is a really interesting thing. As adults, I don't think anyone can object. I mean, Johnny seems like a lovely bloke, and if adults use pornography within the realms of a relationship or not in a relationship, that's fine. Where we have a truly worrying trend in society, a time bomb ticking, is the uptake of porn by particularly young men in their teenage years, whose images, they're still learning and growing, and their images about women are developing.
Forms their opinion of what women are
and
like.
those,
and
I mean, with all due respect, there is a type of pornography that aren't real women. I mean, very little of them is real, and
Tilly.
even the real bits
Well, hang
aren't
on.
real.
To say that, we can say that, okay? And yeah, I do, to a point, agree. All right, that young boys are getting this stereotype of a woman that does like all these mad, nasty things that they can't do on porn. But if you think about it, you've got to really look at like nurture over nature and environmental issues as well. I mean, why are their parents, why don't they have password protection on their computers? Why is there not a pin code on the television
Tilly,
channel?
that's a
Honey.
but that's a by the by. The reality is, and it has always been there, but it was the reason I've never bought a pornographic magazine in my life isn't, heaven forfend, I didn't want to look at one. I'm a man, I wanted to. I was feared. Do you know what I mean? And plus I was quite sure, and it seems ironic. They say it affects your eyesight, then they put it on the top shelf. I never had the guts to go and buy it. The thing is, it's so easy on the internet. There is, you know, to me, and we need to
Giselle?
regulate that.
Lizelle, sorry.
Catherine says we're missing the main points. What are the main points, Catherine?
Where is your empathy? Where is your care for the women and children involved in this industry that are the cash
What
crop?
I'm a woman involved in this
Pornography
industry.
doesn't
Well, hang
exist.
on, wait, Giselle, let's see what Catherine has to say about this.
Pornography. May I finish,
Yeah, exactly.
please? May I finish?
Well, you
Pornography-
described it as sexual slavery, didn't
It
you?
is. In fact, we've got more slaves now than ever before in history.
That's to do with
Women,
Let's let her finish. Please let her
women and
finish.
children are trafficked from countries
Yeah,
where
and
there's
they're forced
poverty.
into prostitution.
I'll
not
come to
because-
wait. Let's let Catherine finish, and then I will come to you.
The cash crop are women and children. The porn industry depends on women and children. It is predicated on exploitation, so we're missing the point here. We are not considering that these people, the women and some men and children, and there isn't a dividing line between adults and child pornography.
So do I have never seen a minority porno.
Well, I
Not in the
have.
UK. Well, not in the UK.
I have.
Are you talking? I think there are two different things here.
My
I mean,
points are that this is based on evidence.
I think it's
We would-
important to say
the
that
new
abusive
evidence.
images of children are one
Where did you
thing.
get your evidence?
Wait a minute, please. What we're talking about is the legitimate, legal
Have
business.
you seen the
of-
magazine Barely Legal?
No, I haven't.
It's
And they are all over
they have
of
to have the
underage
birth
children.
No, they're not underage.
Right.
That's why.
Okay, Giselle, you're all, wait a minute, you're all talking at once, we can't hear anyone, so what we do, we'll come to the bishop. If in doubt, go to the bishop. That's what I always say.